Matt, if you could pin this down, what would you say are your hopes and dreams for the young people who go through a social enterprise youth ministry program such as yours? What is the end goal for them? What are you wishing for them as they engage in this work?
Yeah. For me, very clearly, all of this was started not as a youth ministry growth program or a way to maintain the church or increase its vibrancy. Um, it was about kids knowing Christ and knowing that they are deeply loved, specifically as they are, by a very specific and personal embodied God. That is like the core of my theology. That matters to me. That's what gets me up in the morning. And I wouldn't build a ministry for any other reason. Within that, though, is the tension that I think every minister experiences, which is that same God that is so particular and specific and contextual and says he's come for all of humanity, which I passionately believe. That same God does that work amazingly without coercion or force or militancy. And so the tension for me is how, that's why we use a word like accompaniment a lot and things like that in ministry, because we know that you cannot force somebody to go anywhere, or at least you ought not. It only produces toxic things. So for me, there are a variety of wins that could come out of doing ministry this way. A variety of, and by wins, I mean things that would give glory and would be pleasing to my God. That's what matters to me. So, so it would be pleasing to my God if we helped a kid not end up in poverty because of a single training that struck their deal and 3 years later it turned into a meaningful career. It would give glory to God if a kid never really came to a fully articulate faith, but believed in the idea that there was an external reason that they have inherent value rather than just a cultural mantra that you do, right? There would be all these ways to experience the victories within this model of how we do things that I think would be satisfying to me and I think would be pleasing to God. I always say to the students that when I go and pitch this in schools, I'm interested in getting you where you hope to go. In part of me wants to disrupt some of them and how they want to go, as Jesus would do with us. But part of me wants zero control, if I'm a healthy minister, over that outcome, and wants to join the Spirit and what the Spirit is going to do in their life. And I have to trust that the Spirit's up to something. And I might misinterpret that. It might be an unmitigated train wreck that I'm attributing to the Spirit. But vice versa, I can attribute my quote unquote wins, to the Spirit's work. And it's a total self-deception and a falsehood.
Hmm.
So I bring a certain amount of skepticism into everything I do because I'm a broken human being. So that's why I try to sit in this in-between space of both saying, I know what I think would be a glorious grand slam, but it's not going to happen with every kid. And there's still loads of ways that God can be glorified. And I'm going to remain patient and allow God to maybe do the work. Maybe it's over 3 generations. Maybe that's God's salvation history in this family's life or in this individual's life. It's not about me. It's not about my work. It's not about me going into the promised land. It might be about somebody else or their grandchild. So it's kind of this loose, I have an end, a telos in mind, just as God does, but I'm open to a lot of messiness in getting there and that I'm not in control of that and should not be.